Hi folks, and welcome to 3-Minute Racket Reviews, where we try and explain how tennis rackets feel interacting with a tennis ball in approximately 3 minutes. Today's frame is the legendary PT57A, one of the most coveted pro stocks amongst Head's offerings. This one's been used by Andy Murray, Tommy Haas, and Jill Simone. Starting with the Groundstrokes, I'd give this one a really high rating of 9 out of 10. It's one of the most plush frames of all time. That layup definitely helps you win the battle between stringbed and tennis ball. In terms of the net play on this one, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I think net play with the PT7A is similar to the Groundstrokes. That solid plush feel just gives you so much confidence behind the ball and allows you to place it with conviction. Moving on to the serving with the PT57A, I'd give this one an 8 out of 10, mainly because it's a little bit underpowered and the spin production isn't super great. It's definitely one of those frames that you get out of it what you put into it. Personally, I love hitting slice serves with this frame and a flat serve down the tee. In terms of power, I'd give it a 6 out of 10. I think these classic players frames from Head are a bit on the noodly side, which for a lot of people is sort of a welcome sensation, but you're definitely not going to find any free power here. Moving on to the control in this one, I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10. This is one of those frames where you feel like you really can put the ball on a dime. For that matter, even a grain of sand, for God's sakes. Honestly, I think it's one of the most controlled rackets I've ever used, and the way the ball flies off the string bed is super predictable. Really encouraging response for anyone who's got their feet set and ready to go. Moving on to spin, I'd give this one a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's a slightly above average frame in terms of spin generation. Despite this one being an 1820, I found that the thin beam width combined with a relatively open 18x20 allows you to take pretty big cuts at the ball. For me, it has sort of a lowish to medium launch angle. Nothing offensive in terms of how low it is, but definitely allows you to get underneath the ball. It's how players like Guga Kuerten were able to use the same mold on clay courts, albeit a different layup. Moving on to stability, I'd give this one a 9 out of 10. The layup is incredibly powerful in the upper hoop, and that provides a lot of stability on off-center shots. In general, a very stable frame. Next, on to comfort, give this one a 9.5 out of 10, simply because that pro stock layup is so solid, has such a plush response, one of the most comfortable rackets that I've ever used. Despite it being demanding, it definitely feels plush, even outside of the sweet spot. Next, onto the profile, the flex, would give this one a classic low yoke flex profile. Definitely similar to the Pro Tour 280 630, if not identical, where that racket really feels a pronounced flex, sort of at the top of the handle. Next, will it league? I think this one's tough to recommend in league settings for the average player. It's a very low-powered racket, demanding racket. That being said, if you prefer that prestige feel, you've come from the Pro Tour 280, 630, I think it would really work for you if you come from that lineage. And lastly, on the cosmetic, the variant that I'm using here is a graphene paint job. Apologies to those of you that notice it uncapped. In general, I think there's too many permutations of the PT57A to rate the paint job. So many different cosmetics have been used to mask this legendary frame, so in general, we'll just sit this one out. Thanks everybody for watching our latest review of the Head PT57A. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks.